Welcome everyone to our chat on AI and the unstoppable surge of data. It's fascinating how artificial intelligence is driving more data creation in the next 3 years than ever before, right?
Yep, indeed. Absolutely. It's like, wow, every day now there's just so much more data being generated. So, what exactly is behind this explosive growth?
Well, it's the whole digital ecosystem evolving, you know? Countries like the US and China, with their vast data reserves, are really pushing the envelope. And tech giants, Amazon, Google, Meta over in the US, and Tencent and ByteDance in China, they're
Yes.
basically fueling this growth magnet.
Right. It's more than just numbers on a page. For instance, back in 2010 we saw about 2 zettabytes of data produced. Then, oh boy, 101 zettabytes by 2022. When technologies like ChatGPT hit the scene, it really snowballed.
Exactly. It's like, think of it as your everyday coffee cup that suddenly turns into a giant mug. Then imagine that multiplied by a trillion. 1 zettabyte is 1 trillion gigabytes. So even a small jump means an astronomical
Yeah,
increase.
absolutely. And the forecast is even more mind-blowing. Around 552 zettabytes between 2024 and 2026. That's a data explosion that really redefines our digital era.
Totally. But here's the kicker. Not only is there a flood of data, but it's also bringing along some heavy resource challenges. Data centers are expected to guzzle water and electricity like never before. Imagine that. By 2030, data centers might consume 1.7 million liters of water daily, which is nearly half of what New York City uses every day.
Wow, that's huge. And if you think about electricity, data centers and AI operations used around 460 terawatt hours in 2022, with estimates of a 74% jump to 800 terawatt hours by 2026. That level of energy usage is more than what Germany consumes in a whole year.
Yeah, it's like envision running your household appliances nonstop on steroids. It's an insane consumption, especially when you consider that these centers not only run continuously, but also need to combat intense heat generation, which then requires even more cooling.
Exactly. Right. And speaking of cooling, the methods currently in use rely heavily on water. Data centers need drinking quality water for cooling systems to prevent damage, and that raises sustainability issues.
That's a critical point. Companies are even constructing facilities near seas and rivers to ease water access, but it still means we're tapping into vital resources. It's like trading one critical resource for another, and that balance is definitely something to be mindful of.
Absolutely, I agree. It makes you wonder, are we really prepared to support this digital revolution without straining our natural resources beyond repair?
Exactly. While all this data is fueling innovations, it's also creating a physical burden on our environment. Imagine a data center with a 500 kilowatt hour load produces an equivalent 500 kilowatt hours of heat. Talk about an engineering puzzle, right?
No doubt about that. And it's not just about infrastructure. There's also a geopolitical dimension here. The US and China are in a digital tug of war for global tech dominance, with each leveraging massive data collections to push their agendas.
Exactly. That's like a high stakes digital arms race. Their investments in AI and data are positioning them to redefine control in the tech sphere. And that has massive
Definitely, that's a
implications
game
globally.
changer. It also poses a sometimes uncomfortable truth. While more data might mean better services and discoveries, it simultaneously amps up our resource consumption to levels that could become unsustainable.
True, and it's not just about quantity versus quality, although data quality should always be a priority. The input we're discussing really emphasizes sheer volume, a monumental jump from, say, 2 zettabytes to 101, and then projecting to over 550 in just a few
Right
years.
on? Right. And that leads us to think about our approach to digital advancement. We need to invest in sustainable infrastructure alongside technological innovations. Otherwise, we might see breakthroughs in AI, but also face an environmental backlash.
Exactly. It's a balancing act, almost like trying to ride a wave. If you get it right, you reach a new shore of promise. If not, you face a harsh reality. And, don't get me wrong, this explosion of data is exhilarating, but it's also pushing us to reconsider our energy and water policies in real
Absolutely.
time.
Yes. And I have to challenge one thought. While the data volume is undeniably staggering, some might argue that we're not allocating enough focus on developing greener solutions for these data centers. Aren't there companies already exploring renewable energy and alternative cooling systems?
You've got a point there. There are innovations like advanced heat exchangers and immersion cooling, or even using recycled water in non-drinking capacities. It shows that while the challenge is immense, there are efforts underway to, innovate sustainably.
That is promising. Right. Yet the overall trend still indicates a massive and, unfortunately, resource-intensive push forward. It's like everyone's sprinting in a race without fully checking if the track can handle it all.
Exactly. And the huge surge in data creation, 552 zettabytes predicted over the next few years, is not just an abstract number. It represents a physical, tangible impact on global electricity and water systems that forces us to innovate faster in sustainability
That's
too.
spot on. And that really brings us back to the importance of smart infrastructure planning. As our digital dependency grows, so too must our commitment to environmental stewardship. There's no magic button to solve it all.
For sure, it's almost like we're at a crossroads. On one path, massive AI-driven innovation. On the other, a looming resource crunch. Both are interconnected, and there's a real need for careful, collaborative solutions.
Exactly, indeed. Exactly. And this collaboration should span governments, tech giants, and local communities alike. After all, the environmental impact, water, energy, you name it, is a shared challenge.
Absolutely. And it's interesting how this conversation ties abstract digital growth to very real, tangible challenges. It's like the invisible side of the web is manifesting in concrete,
That's a great way to
physical
put it.
terms.
Yes, and the implications go far beyond just energy bills or water consumption. They speak to the future of urban planning, policy making, and even global competitiveness.
Right. And to me, it highlights that in the digital era, being innovative isn't just about new apps or smarter algorithms. It's about rethinking how we sustain an ever expanding digital universe.
Absolutely true, yeah. So, as we wrap our conversation, it seems the core message is that while AI is propelling us into an era of unprecedented data generation, it also leaves us with substantial challenges related to resource consumption. And addressing these will be key to a balanced future.
Exactly. We're at a pivotal moment where progress and responsibility must go hand in hand. It's a thrilling yet humbling reminder that our digital future can only be as sustainable as the real world resources we depend upon.
Wise words. No doubt about that. Thanks for this engaging and thought provoking discussion. It's a conversation that uh, we all need to keep having as we race forward into this data driven future.
Absolutely. And until next time, let's all keep in mind that our digital innovations must match our commitment to preserving the physical world. Thanks for tuning in.
Right on, thanks.